The courtroom fell silent. Some gasped. The father covered his face with both hands, shaking. It was no longer just the tragedy of a son murdered. It was the deeper wound of betrayal. His boy had planned his own kidnapping, had turned against the very man who raised him. It was a scar that would never heal. The trial drew national attention. Journalists filled the gallery, cameras flashing. Newspapers splashed new headlines daily. Greed ends in grave, the son who became his own victim. Experts debated on television. Some said the story was about a broken generation, where young people chased quick wealth without thought for consequences. Others argued it showed how inequality poisoned society, turning even the privileged into gamblers with their own lives. Churches preached sermons using the case as a warning. Parents sat their children down, retelling the story in hushed voices. And across the nation, people shook their heads at the irony. The boy who tried to cheat his father had been cheated by his own friends. It was more than crime. It was a parable, one that blended fear, greed, betrayal, and death into a cautionary tale that few would forget. The killers were sentenced, their lives now bound to prison walls. But the father remained a prisoner too, locked inside his grief. He walked through his mansion like a ghost, halls once filled with his son's laughter now echoing with silence. Friends urged him to move on, to remarry, to adopt, to fill the void. But how could he? The boy had not just died. He had died in betrayal, in shame, in greed. At night, the father replayed conversations, searching for signs he had missed, a forgotten argument, a careless demand for money, a look in the boy's eyes that hinted at restlessness. He wondered if stricter love would have saved him, or softer love would have guided him differently. But the past cannot be rewritten. The ransom money was gone. The boy was gone. And the man who once held everything was left with nothing but memories, questions, and a story that the whole nation whispered about for years to come. Investigators later pieced together the boy's final hours in haunting detail. The night before his death, he sat in the back of a rickety car, laughing nervously with the men he called friends. He thought they were partners in a scheme. They knew he was prey. At one point, he joked about how his father would beg and cry to save him. He did not notice the cold glances exchanged in the front seat. Hours later, after the ransom was collected, the car swerved off the highway. The boy's laughter had turned into questions, then silence. Witnesses reported hearing a single scream in the night, cut short. By morning, his body lay in the dust, his youthful face frozen in disbelief. It was not just a killing,